My story is I started out of my dorm room in college, renting these two boards right here. We bought 10 of them, and just fell in love with snowboarding. Been skiing my whole life, starting when I was 3. And these two boards kind of started my life right here. But actually, the first snowboard that ever was made was from Sherm Poppin. 1965, he made this for his daughter. And then Jake Burton got into it. And all these facts are kind of what I know. They're not always, people might have other opinions, but this is my opinion. So this was a board given me by Jake Burton, signed by Jake Burton, when I was selling a lot of snowboards. And so I've been selling snowboards since 1986. Out of my dorm room in Durango, moved to Steamboat Springs, fell in love with the mountain, fell in love with the snow, and love snowboarding. So all these snowboards are fun. That's what I really have to say about them all, is I've had fun on them all. And so some of these boards have been given to me. I've collected them over the years. This one was actually given to me. This was a prototype from Sims. Sims was the actual first board I ever rode that got me into snowboarding. It was a board that my friend had in Durango. We hiked to the top of the mountain with him. We had one board, and then we each took a ride. My partner and I, Wayne Ritter, each took a ride on it. He got to ride down the mountain. We walked to the very top. Our friend got to ride all the way down the mountain on his board, and then Wayne and I went back and bought 10 of these boards to rent out. And then GNU was my first metal edge board I ever bought. GNU and Liptech is what I think has made the brand so much fun for so many years. They're one of my favorite companies to this day, Liptech and GNU. I ride them every day. I love them. They're great. This is Dan Donnelly's Pro Model. It was also given to me. One of the first GNU boards ever made. And I came across this. My friend gave it to me. And then this winter stick was given to me by Jupiter Jones that owned Powder Cats. And he just let me have it. He gave it to me. I told him I was a collector. And he gave it to me, and that's kind of what the newer technology boards are kind of being shaped like. Then Burton got into it, and Burton really made the industry grow, and grow in a big way. And I love Burton boards. I've ridden them for years, and these are some of the ones that I've collected over the years. Obviously, Craig Kelly was one of my favorites that I rode for. Probably rode the Craig Kelly for 10 years straight, and one of my favorite boards. The Burton Airs were great. I opened the first snowboard shop in Steamboat Springs and was also the first instructor. And we started renting, I believe these cruisers out were like our first rental board, and we were instructing on the mountain on preview. And then Craig Kelly really accelerated the sport, and so did Tom Sims. I can't leave him out. Tom Sims made some really great boards. The half pipe, the Sims blade, the switch blade, really made the sport progress also. And then also the Liptechs have made, I can't say enough about Liptech and GNU. They make great boards. And then they started coming out with different shapes and different things that they're still using today. So there's an asymmetrical board. So people are making asymmetrical boards now. And they took that from back in the day. And then reverse camber boards were actually made before that was like a new technology, but they made it way back in the 90s. The late 80s and early 90s. They made reverse camber. So that's kind of fun. And all these are fun, like I said. Another asymmetrical board. K2 was a big part of the first boards that I ever bought. When I used to go to the shows, the first companies we go to were Burton, Sims, and then we found K2, and they were like, "Oh, you guys are snowboarders." And I'm like, "Yeah, we heard you have snowboarders. We want to buy them." from you, and we did. So we bought some of the old K2s and that was our 3 brands that we started with. We'd see one rep, walk over to the next rep, and we were done. And then they made asymmetrical boards and carving boards. Was a big thing. Hard boots and running gates was also, is still to this day, is bordercross and still happening. But you know, the best thing I love about steamboat and snowboarding is the powder. So these kind of boards, they've made them shorter, they made them fatter so that they ride better in the powder. That's kind of what that and Travis Rice has brought in snowboarding to a whole nother level and made the Orca, which is one of the best-selling boards of today. You know, kind of just a fun board that kind of does it all, and really easy to turn in the trees and great in the powder. Still really good on hard pack and that kind of thing. And I got to meet a lot of the pros. I got to meet Sean White. I brought Sean White backcountry snowmobiling. I got to, you know, I've Taylor Gold. I got to be able to instruct him and teach him. And I've met a lot of people and a lot of friends through the store. Santa Cruz, I was the first dealer. Liptech and Canoe, I was the first dealer in Colorado. Lamar was the first dealer. Nitro, Look, Rad Air was a big part of my life because of Dave Pinkerman. And then just all the boards have meant a lot to me, but they're all really fantastic and really fun.
Any board you want to really highlight here?
Well, the Canoe was really the first board that I rode that had metal edges and I could ride on the resort.
Yeah.
That was great on the resort. These you could not ride on a resort. I rode on Wolf Creek. There's no edges, so you pretty much went into every tree well. So you could ride in the powder, but it wasn't good at the resort, especially on icy days.
Yeah.
And this was given to me by Jake, and this was given to me by Sherm Poppin.
Wow.
So, yeah, they're pretty cool. I like them. These are going back to my house. My wife won't let me take them. Won't let me sell them.
Which ones like pioneered technology in terms of like, okay, metal edges on the Canoe?
I'd say Sims had the first metal edge board.
Yeah.
And then boards, and then Canoe. But Liptech and Canoe, they invented the first insert, and they also brought the technology to where it's at right now, like with the banana technology. And then also, it really progressed skiing because of the shape skis.
Mm-hmm.
You know, shape skis, it made skiing way more fun. The skiers saw us all having fun in the half pipe, and they're like, why can't we do that? Why can't we have shape skis? And that brought a lot of skiers back to the mountain.
Totally.
And now skiing is really taken off and is a great sport. Everybody has a lot of fun with that too.
Mm-hmm.
But I really like it because of the camaraderie and the fun of being on the mountain. And then, you know, and going to the après skis is great too. I mean, that's a fun thing also. And everybody's usually having a really good time. You know, the social element is definitely a part of it, and being with your friends and going and riding the trees in the powder. The reason why I live in Steamboat is because of those trees, the aspen trees.
Right.
You know, and the powder. I moved here because of the powder.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why, you know, I'd already named it Powder Pursuits when I was living in Durango, but I moved here for the powder.
Mm-hmm.
And we did backcountry tours before they even let us on the resort. So at the beginning, it wasn't easy because they wouldn't let us on the resort. So we would take people backcountry tours up on Rabbit Ears and Buffalo Pass hiking. And basically what we would do is we would bring people up, hike up to the top, build a jump, and we'd launch every beginner into the powder. And everybody had a great day. And that was $30 for the board, the boots, and the ride to the top of the Rabbit Ears. And we'd hike up and build a jump. It was super fun. that was our first days, and I was working in a restaurant, and then the mountain finally opened up to snowboarding. We opened the first shop in Ski Times Square. You can see right up there. See the sign up there, Ski Times Square. Ski Times Square was the best, I have to say. We had so much fun at Ski Times Square.
Yeah, one of the stories I loved hearing from you was trying to get snowboarding accepted at a resort that was not really that open to it. And the whole industry wasn't that open to it.
Correct. Correct.
So that was pretty cool to hear the roots of that and what it took to get you on the mountain with these.
So what we did to start with Durango, to get them to start, is Wolf Creek was the first mountain to open, and I think Breckenridge might have been before them, but it was Breckenridge and Wolf Creek. And we got to ride these two boards at Wolf Creek, but went into the tree wells, and we would call Purgatory at the time. We'd call them and said, "Hey, do you guys let snowboarders?" And they say, "No." And they say, "Okay, well, I guess we'll go to Wolf Creek. We got 10 people who want to go snowboarding." And so I got to be, we got them to open the year we were there. And I was in line the very first day they opened with the snowboard, and it just snowed like 3 feet of powder. And I was the first one on the lift at Purgatory at the time. And it was the best day of my life. I got to ride all day powdered. It was amazing.
Forever etched in your memory, huh?
Oh, I'll never forget that day. To be on a chairlift with a snowboard the first day ever, yes, it was great.
Awesome. The other thing I noticed is like the shapes of these boards are so drastically different one to the next. I mean, the evolution of it is...
It's been amazing and fun.
Yeah, you can see it here, and the shapes are, a lot of stuff is being experimented with and tried and tested. And
yep, they've made some really great shapes, and you know, again, I can't say enough that snowboarding is just fun if you're riding, and the powder especially. But I love the shapes where they're going. I love the new boards, the new technology. There's been a lot of companies, a lot of big companies that from the ski industry have brought in a lot of technology over the years that made it really amazing. Like they brought in, you know, the skiers brought in, Solomon brought in really good boards to start. K2 was amazing at the forefront of getting into snowboarding. And then the smaller companies got kind of shooken out. And then we have the internet that shook out the retailers. So if there's the true retailers still left, they got shooken out by the internet and by ordering snowboards online. And with that in mind, it changed the industry and changed my world. So I had to change my philosophy and my business plan.
But still going strong after how many years?
36 years, 37, I think. We were hiking for a lot of those years, and then they finally opened up the mountain in 88, 89, and that's when we moved here. And I did anything I could do to stay here and live here. Used to work in restaurants. I worked for the mountain. I worked just enough money to make it. And I'm still having a great time and still riding. Oh, raised my family here. I got to remember I raised 2 boys in Steamboat, and they're off in their own worlds and living and having a good life. It's a great place to raise kids. Steamboat's an awesome place. So all I have to say is that go snowboarding and have fun on the mountain. It's a great thing. I love it. That's it.